Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen...
Ihr seid Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes. Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur um zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält.
Es ist dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen. Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow. Und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg-Marsdorf-Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Pretty much everyone here is looking to the floor. They are all acting submissive and non-confrontational, as they refuse to make any eye contact with Hitler, and don't even look in his direction. They all fear him. Now, making eye contact can be taken as a potential challenge, which is why we try and divert our eyes as to appear non-challenging to the dominant person, which in this context is Hitler. When he's given the bad news, the generals look at each other, which is a way to stay in tune with our allies and build rapport with them. Now, staying in tune with our friends and allies with our body language is key, and it shows that they're working together and are supporting each other. Now, we're pack animals at the end of the day, and we rely on others, especially in tense situations like this one.
Mein Führer, Steiner
konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Burgdorf.
Again, you can clearly see here that no one is looking at Hitler, only the people talking. They're acting completely submissive and non-confrontational. The guy in the Navy uniform is also shielding his body with his arms, which is a non-verbal cue that shows we feel threatened. We put our hands here to protect our vital areas, the areas of the body that we need to protect from potential predators, as they are the most vulnerable to attack. The general on the right also keeps his mouth open, which is a sign that he's trying to get as much oxygen as possible, showing intense levels of stress. Now, he isn't preparing to fight Hitler or anything like that. He's preparing to encounter a stressor. None of this is conscious. Now, Hitler at this point in the war had Parkinson's, which is why he's shaking. However, he does a subtle micro-expression with his right eyebrow, which reveals that he's going through high levels of stress. Micro-expressions are short body language cues that show our true thoughts and feelings, and only occur briefly as our conscious tries to suppress them instantly. Hitler tenses up his eyebrow briefly and then suppresses it, which shows that he's intentionally hiding his intense anger and frustration.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt Sie? Dass Sie es wagen, sich meinen Befehl zu widersetzen!
The generals who are told to stay keep their eyes away from Hitler, again being submissive and non-confrontational. They then look to each other to build rapport. They're looking to each other for help and assistance. Also, if you look at their hands, they're all fidgeting and moving their fingers. This is a pacifying behavior, which is the way our brain releases the buildup of stress. They're all incredibly stressed and are trying to calm themselves down. Also, the guy on the right does a distancing behavior with his head. He looks at the people leaving the room to put distance between himself and the stressor, which in this context is Hitler. Before Hitler begins ranting, you can see his lips subtly tremble, which is again another suppression of an expression. Trembling and shaking occur when we give off pacifying behaviors, and he's suppressing it, which is why his mouth tenses up, showing that he's really emotionally affected by what's happening. Joseph Goebbels, the guy behind Hitler, is also shielding his torso with his arms, showing that even he, Hitler's right-hand man, is feeling afraid of him. Also, everyone looks to each other again.
Das Militär hat mich belogen! Jeder hat mich belogen, sogar die SS! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verblusen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre!
The guys behind Hitler do distancing behaviors. They change their proxemics, which means the distance between people, to get further away from Hitler, showing that they feel slightly threatened by him. This is probably the best bit of acting I have ever seen, and it's this guy. When he's challenging Hitler, he darts his eyes towards him, only to then distance and looks to the floor. He's trying to argue against Hitler, but also trying to come across as non-confrontational, which is why he looks to the floor. He also manages to look at the other generals, back to Hitler, and then to the floor, and also, if you catch him at the end, he also tenses his mouth up. All of this body language was shown in a split second. This is perhaps the most realistic and well-acted piece of body language that I have ever seen. Just to say, this whole reaction is being done without knowing what they're saying, and is purely based off their body language. I hope to demonstrate that body language is the only real universal language.
Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält. Jahrelang hat das Militär meine Aktionen nur behindert. Es hat mir jeden nur ersichtlichen Widerstand in den Weg gelegt. Ich hätte gut daran getan, von Jahren alle höheren Offiziere liquidieren zu lassen, wie Stalin.
Hitler grabs the table, which is called a grounding behavior. We do this when we feel powerless and lack confidence. It shows that Hitler, although angry, has no control anymore. The guys behind Hitler are no longer shielding their bodies and actually expose their stomachs, which shows that they no longer feel threatened by Hitler. It's clear that they're not the people in trouble, and all of Hitler's rage is focused on the generals in front.
Ich war nie auf einer Akademie. Und doch habe ich allein auf mich gestellt, ganz Europa erobert. Verräter! Von allem Anfang an bin ich so verraten und betrogen worden!
The generals keep looking towards each other, looking for support, and one of them does another pacifying behavior. He tenses his mouth, showing again high levels of stress. Hitler no longer looks to the generals. What he's saying now looks to be something reflective, as opposed to something directly involving the generals, as he doesn't look at them. He's looking down and he slouches forward, which is a cue that signifies sadness, a lack of confidence, and also low self-esteem. He's defeated, and that's shown very accurately in his body language.
Es wurde ein ungeheurer Verrat geübt am deutschen Volke. Aber alle diese Verräter werden bezahlen. Mit ihrem eigenen Blut werden sie bezahlen. Sie werden es saufen in ihrem eigenen Blut.
Bitte gerne. Jetzt beruhig dich doch.
More pacifying behaviors from the generals. The guy in the middle moves their fingers, which as stated before is a common sign of stress, and the guy on the right slowly opens or stretches his jaw, another pacifying behavior.
Meine Befehle sind in den Wind gesprochen. Es ist unmöglich, unter diesen Umständen zu führen. Es ist aus. Der Krieg ist verloren. Aber wenn Sie, meine Herren, glauben, dass ich deswegen Berlin verlasse, irren Sie sich gewaltig. Eher jage ich mir eine Kugel durch den Kopf. Tun Sie, was Sie wollen.
Hitler's tone of voice changes to that of total defeat. He's no longer angry and his tone softens. The generals are clearly incredibly affected by what Hitler says at one point. Their baseline shifts and they do strong non-verbal cues. This guy moves his hand up to cover his chest. which I think is the equivalent of folded arms, which is a self-soothing, pacifying behavior. He also opens his mouth to express shock and looks at the others, who then look at each other. I think Hitler maybe admits defeat here, as that would explain their strong reaction. He then goes further and grabs his collar, which is a very strong pacifying behavior. He's trying to get more air and releases his collar to make breathing easier. Hitler again tenses his right eye briefly, which shows strong stress levels, and his voice is incredibly soft. So overall, this is the greatest scene I think of any movie ever in terms of the acting. It's insanely detailed and tense even without the use of music. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.